The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren Jaime. Today, we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Coming up on today's show, we'll talk about the growth of the home health care amid the COVID-19 pandemic, see about what services are being provided and how seniors are being cared for. Also, today is the International Transgender Day of Visibility. We'll talk about the special needs members of the transgender community need from a health plan. And then we're going to discuss the importance of protecting your business brand, trademarks, copyrights, and what you need to know. And then we'll talk to a paralegal and legal studies program that's focusing on developing students' knowledge about the origins, content, and consequences of law policies. And then a little later on, we're going to talk with the coordinator of Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Festival on the importance of youth mental health. And then finally, we'll learn about the impact of COVID-19 on higher education and what it particularly means for Bronx youth. So stay tuned. We got a full show. We've got all that and much more heading your way, as right now, we're officially open. Hello, everyone. I'm Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, March 31st, and you're watching Open, a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV sets. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is also being broadcast live simultaneously on the MNN channel. We invite you to stay connected to us on our social media platforms at BronxNet TV, and as always, our website at bronxnet.org. Well, a lot has certainly been going on through the course of the past week, and we can't take you through everything, but we can take you through a couple of things with our Bronx updates. We start off in the borough of the Bronx with community news. Assemblymember Amanda Septimo partnered with St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction and Washington Heights Corner Project for a drug debris cleanup at St. Mary's Park. Our Bronx Net reporter Sanjay Lopez was out there, and she brings us the story right now.
So what you probably need, somebody overdosed and somebody was able to rush clean up because they had nothing.
Used naloxone, needles, and plastic tops scattered throughout St. Mary's Park drew growing concern from many parents of students at PS 277 across the street, prompting Assemblymember Amanda Septimo to partner with St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction and Washington Heights Corner Project for a drug debris cleanup.
We decided to organize a cleanup, and we're also talking about how we can shift cleanup schedules moving forward, how we can overlap the work so that this issue with needles in front of schools starts to minimize and we start to get help to the people who need it.
We want to always remember that we are all human beings. We all go through something, and we want to approach people how we would want to be approached. So at St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction it's about meeting people where they're at. So right now, because of COVID-19, meeting people where they're at is right here in this park.
Organizers of St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction and Corner Project regularly conduct cleanups and outreach at the park, providing clean needles, naloxone kits, and meals to the community, as well as education on proper disposal of needles using these syringe kiosks installed throughout Bronx parks.
We know there's an opioid epidemic going on. We know people are going to use in the parks. It's corona. Nobody has nowhere to go. So basically, this is where it's going down. So we try to get people to use this as much as they can so we can prevent the transmission of Hep C, HIV, and all that other bad stuff.
Assemblymember Septimo says that she intends to continue working with local community groups in order to determine next steps for a longer-term solution to address the ongoing opioid crisis in Mott Haven.
We have a high concentration of clinics here in our district, and they don't seem to be working. The issue seems to be getting worse. And if you ask experts, they expect that this summer will be even more difficult. And so we want to make sure we're doing everything we can from a policy perspective and from a community perspective to not only get people the help that they need, but be thinking globally in terms of policy. How are we approaching harm reduction? How are we approaching treatment of issues and making sure that people get the support that they need?
Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
And thank you, Sanji. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. Good news there. We've got a whole lot more and a great show ahead, so stay with us. Open will return right after this. And welcome back to the show. Westchester Family Care Incorporated is an award-winning home care agency assisting people of all ages by customizing home care plans to maintain a healthy quality of life and safety at home. The agency provides a peace of mind and confidence their clients are safe and living with dignity within their own homes. Their goal is to provide the highest quality of care when life's events make daily living more difficult. Joining us now to share more about the work that they do and details is the president of Westchester Family Care, Glenn Lane. And Glenn, good to have you.
Great, good to be here, and thanks for having me today.
Thank you. And so when we describe the type of care that your agency provides, give us a more personal look.
So we're a licensed agency. We're overseen by New York State Department of Health. We have what we call activities of daily living that we help people with. All of our caregivers are certified home health aides. They're trained in all the activities of daily living, helping people with bathing and dressing and help in the bathroom, help getting around and just safety supervision. But the other component of what we do is companionship. In many situations, the adult children of our clients are remote. Our caregivers may be the only people that the clients interact with on a daily basis. So there's a companionship element of that. There's also help with meals and food prep, and in many cases, help going out with errands, going to the beauty parlor, going shopping, going to a house of worship. So it's both this help with life's daily activities as well as general companionship.
How have things transcended for you given the fact of the pandemic? I mean, with the socialization and isolation issues, what's quote unquote business been like for you in terms of reaching people?
So I think for the whole world, everything is harder. It's just harder to get anything done, day to day. We've continued to be busy. We have many clients that their adult children are nearby or at home with them, and they've elected to take care of their loved ones. But then we have others where we've increased services, and we are trying to have fewer caregivers taking care of fewer clients. So we typically have one caregiver taking care of one client to minimize the number of people that are coming and going. We're following all Department of Health safety protocols. All of our caregivers are wearing masks during their shift. They're screened every day before every shift for any fever or any symptoms, just to do the best we can to keep the clients and to keep our caregivers and everyone's families safer.
Yeah. I mean, when we think about the work that you do, I think about my mother. She's passed away now. But one of the things she said, I don't want to end up in a nursing home. And, your work really is an alternative to a nursing home. The question is, with the kind of work that you do, how do you see nursing homes, do you see them phasing out?
Well, first of all, sorry about your mother. And I know, it's a very difficult decision, regardless of the decision to stay home, or to go into a nursing home. I don't think nursing homes are going to phase out. There's situations where there's a level of care that occurs in a nursing home that is harder to duplicate in the home. It's not impossible. But basically, We've taken care of clients who have decided they didn't want to go into a nursing home or into an assisted living or independent living, which are also communal settings. And one of the main reasons is that whole sense of isolation, the fact that loved ones can't visit, the fact that in many situations during the pandemic, folks weren't even coming out of their room. They were staying in their room for safety. Meals were being brought to them, so that socialization that they might get in a facility setting wasn't occurring either. And so on the flip side of that, we had situations where we're spending more time with our clients, doing the normal work we do, but then that companionship element and that socializing and interaction becomes even more important.
Yeah. And so for people who want to make that consideration for home health and having their loved one under home health, give them a little bit more as to the service that you provide and why you feel like that is a difference maker.
So the services are very consistent, at a high level from provider to a provider. We feel we're different in that we're locally owned. We're not part of a franchise. We tend to be more responsive, quicker in our decision-making and our implementations. And then in terms of the services, we spend quite a bit of time on training. We have a training program, both for people that are new to the field as well as for the different recurrent trainings that we need to provide. And then also our caregivers are all supervised by registered nurses. The nurses are going out, they're making visits, they're talking about the cases with the caregivers, and getting and giving feedback. So I think it's a combination of the people we're recruiting, the way we're training them, the way we're supervising and overseeing them.
Yeah, socialization is so huge. And I think that one of the things that, that does is provide that really one-to-one socialization. And in many ways, that's a difference maker in the life of that senior.
It is. And both in terms of their daily interaction, the things they do together, in terms of both when they do go out and do the types of things that your loved one would want to do, as well as when they're in the home, whether it's, people's favorite TV shows or movies or board games or art activities, or just, conversation with someone, it's all part of it, and it all helps people be stimulated. Also, a lot of times our caregivers are the technical provider for our clients, where the contact they're having with their loved ones is facilitated by my caregiver, whether it's a FaceTime or a Zoom or something, with technology, so that they can have these face-to-face interactions, especially where their loved ones are remote and, aren't getting on a plane to visit their mom or dad during this period.
Yeah. Well, Glenn, thank you for being with us here on Open. I mean, I think the work that you guys are doing right now is very vital and very critical at a time like this. A lot of seniors and their families riding on having that special someone. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to coming back again. Thank you.
All righty. Well, listen, if you want more information, you can visit the website at westchesterfamilycare.com. Again, westchesterfamilycare.com. We encourage you, stay with us. We've got more Open coming up. We'll be right back in a few. Well, welcome back to the show. Today is the International Transgender Day of Visibility, which is an annual awareness day celebrated around the world, dedicating to celebrating transgender people and raising awareness of discrimination faced by transgender people worldwide. as well as a celebration of their contributions to society. Our next guest is a part of a specialized Medicaid plan from VNSNY Choice, which does community outreach to help others in the trans community find out about their health care, specifically tailored to their needs. Joining us to share a little bit more and provide further insight is the Outreach and Enrollment Coordinator at VNSNY Choice, SelectHealth, Truss Robinson. And Truss, good to have you.
Hey, man. Hey, Daren. How's everything? It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Share a little bit about your work and what you do.
Okay, well, I work with VNSNY Choice. We also work with a part of, we are SelectHealth. We basically get specialized insurance and specialized medical care for people who are transgendered, who are either HIV positive or undetected, or if you're even homeless. We give them specialized care, giving them a little something extra, a little something better just for them.
Yeah. And so for those who may not be so familiar with the transgender community, there are sometimes a lot of needs. Talk to us a little bit about the needs within the transgender community.
Well, some needs that a lot of people, I guess, kind of not see that we have, or, a lot of us have like needs when it comes to surgery. A lot of us tend to need, top or bottom surgery. Sometimes it could even be, dental. It could be even dental. It could be vision. As you see, I wear glasses. I also am a member of, I also have the insurance myself. So I do, familiarize what's going on. And, I can see, what we need extra. Sometimes it could even be, just a voice change. Sometimes it's called laryngology. And that's just having your voice deeper. These are little things that we need and that people kind of, look past, so that's definitely some things that we like to touch on.
Yeah. And for today, which is a day of visibility, what is it that you would like people to know specifically when it comes to the transgender community?
Well, I really just want people to know that, we're people, we're human, just like, anyone else. If you look at me and you have 2 eyes, I have 2 eyes, I have 2 ears, 10 fingers, and 10 toes. So I just want people to know that we're people, like we're somebody else's child. And I tell people that a lot. And that's why sometimes, our safety, we tell people like, I'm still a human. And I just want people to never forget that, I'm here just like anybody else. And we'll make you smile, we'll make you laugh, we'll make you comfortable. So I don't want everybody to ever, forget that about us.
Yeah. And so as you go about doing your work and having that conversation, obviously in a lot of circles, having a conversation as a transgender person is not easily acceptable. But talk to us about progress. Do you feel like progress is being made? Do you feel like now that there's more awareness and information being passed out there that people are becoming more tolerant and accepting?
Well, I could say that it's easing up. After Trump, got out of office, it kind of eased up a little bit, but, sometimes we still do face, little here and there's. I would say that it has got a little better. You're outside, instead of the kind of disgusted look, I guess you could say, when you're like, hey, I'm trans, they kind of give you like this weird, this weird kind of look, instead of it's more so like, well, what are your pronouns? They'll ask like, well, how long have you been trans? Or, what would you like for me to do to make you feel better? So I could definitely say that, the world, little by little, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah. And so there is this event, Trans Presence Beyond Visibility. Share with us a little bit about the event and what people can expect.
Okay, well, this event is about, like I said, and like you mentioned, trans disability. It's just about, we're going to have some speakers. I'm going to actually be a guest. We're going to have other guests, we're going to talk about basically like a panel, we're going to talk about concerns, questions, and just have some music. We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have some singers, so we're just going to, show the world, who we are and, what is it about? This event is free. We're also giving out, a 20% gift card to others. Playout is actually a underwear, lingerie, you could say, type of company. And, they definitely promote to trans and non-gender people, even cisgender. So, this is really exciting. And I'm actually, excited to be a part of this because, I want people to know like who we are and, what we have to bring to the world.
Right. And I think sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle amidst everything else, right? That when you have these conversations, that sometimes is the last thing that's actually brought to the table. But as an outreach worker, give me a little bit about that. I mean, you're reaching out and you're sharing.
Okay, so, you know, as an outreach, we go to different clinics. We can go to hospitals. Sometimes we go to shelters. You know, we even go to, like, you know, schools sometimes where kids are, no, definitely of age. But we just go and we just, you know, let them know we're here. We're here. We are definitely here. You have a lot of other insurances that they're kind of more viral, so they kind of just pertain to everyone. But here at SelectHealth, this is just for you. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel like your needs are being met. And we want people to understand that we're here for anything that you need. It's just not a medical insurance, but it's also family, you know, and that's what SelectHealth, you know, definitely loves to give is family and comfortability.
What's it like for you having the ability to have a healthcare provider that's pretty much directed towards you?
That is absolutely, it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, I've had other insurances, you know, not to mention, but you know, the calls or even the customer service is not as great. You know, here at SelectHealth, they make sure that, you know, I'm always taken care of. If I call somebody, I never wait on the line more than, you know, maybe 3 minutes. Even if that, you know, and they pertain to understand that, like, sometimes as trans people, we have our own insecurities, you know? So with SelectHealth, everything that you can think of, anything that you can think of, we're here and they take care of it. And I've never had an issue, even going to my appointments in hospitals, I've never had an issue with anything, you know? And a lot of people actually know about VNSNY. You'd be really surprised they know about it. And, you know, I said, you know, well, I'm SelectHealth. And they're like, wow, no, this is new. This is great, you know? So, like, we're here. And I just love that they help us in my community because, believe me, we definitely need it. We definitely need it.
Well, trust you represented well. And thank you so much for being with us here on Open. And certainly we'll continue to give the information out. And best wishes for the event.
Anytime, Daren. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man.
All righty. Thank you. Trust Robinson from VNSNY Choice SelectHealth. He is the Outreach and Enrollment Coordinator. Now, for more information, you can visit the website at selecthealthny.org or call them at 1-866-469-7774. Again, that number, 1-866-469-7774. We don't want you to go anywhere. We've got more show coming up. Stay with us. Open returns right after this.
We know that people are dealing with the health crisis, but there's also a lot of food insecurity.
We're giving out healthy food options, and that's what's key here.
If you're a senior, you have a disability, they'll actually deliver meals to you.
The residents are anxious, they're worried, they're scared, they want to be tested.
When things were happening in our community, and we couldn't get the help.
There's almost a presumption of criminality that attaches to your skin color.
The site will prioritize those who are at highest risk in the population.
If you feel symptoms and you'd like to visit one of these COVID-19 testing sites here in the Bronx, you may call the State Health Department's hotline.
Important to note about this site is no reservations are needed. This is a walk-in clinic.
A lot of us are out of work and looking for something to do.
We have the machinery and the skills to make large scale of these masks and gowns.
Take care of your people. It's going to go way further than we actually can understand.
Right now, employees like myself are just adjusting to the new reality.
And welcome back to the show. Creating a strong brand in the eyes of your audience can be the difference between building your business to unimaginable heights or sinking your ship before it even gets started. Theft is a major concern for every business, as losing property almost always results in a loss of profit. Now, if you own your own small business, you will likely invest money, energy, and time into marketing and branding that business. The question is, what legal procedures can you follow when you fail to protect your brand? Here now to tell us more is the partner at Twomey, Latham, Shea, Kelley, Dubin, and Quartararo, LLP, Kathryn, Dalli. And we thank you for joining us here, Kathryn, and being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Daren. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah. You know, when you think about this segment, I think about entrepreneurs. I think about people just getting their start. And sometimes, as I said in the lead, you be getting a good start, but then have a quick finish just by failing to do a few simple things.
Yeah. When you're starting a business, the name of the business, especially in this environment with social media, internet, the name of the business is very important. And at the outset, you want to do a little research and make sure that your name is protectable, meaning that you can obtain trademark protection for that name. So when you spend your hard-earned money or investment money in marketing and building your brand, you want to make sure that the name is going to be protectable, as I said, is not being used, and is going to propel your business, and make sure that in the end, after you're not in the end, but during the process, after you're marketing and spending all of this money, that somebody is not going to come along and say, hey, wait a second, I'm using that name for a similar business. I've been using that name since 2012, but I'm sorry, you have to cease and desist.
So I want to take a moment and look at a couple of things, because we hear these two words oftentimes, and I'm not so sure that everybody gets it right. Talk about trademark and talk about copyright. When we talk about trademark, what's a trademark?
Trademark identifies the source of the goods or the product. So you trademark the name of your business, or a logo, or a tagline. For instance, my firm has registered trademark for Be Well Advised. That's called a tagline. But the name of a business, such as Coca-Cola, they have both the name registered and the logo registered. So that's the most, in my opinion, the most important thing when you're forming a business is the name. There are names of businesses that are not protectable. And that's a business that, a name that describes the business. For instance, Riverdale Dry Cleaners. That could not be trademarked because it's descriptive of the business. You know that it's a dry cleaning establishment in Riverdale. So it is protectable. What is protectable are arbitrary names, suggestive names, or for instance, the strongest trademark would be something like Google. When it first came out, no one knew what Google was. And so that trademark is very, very strong because it's arbitrary or fanciful. So if you can think of a great name for your business, it would be protectable and it would be a very strong mark. So when you say the name of your business, people know, oh, that's the guy on Tremont Avenue. I know him. I know that business. That's great. That's what you want to do.
And for many people, they don't like the process. So how long is this process for actually getting a business trademark? Because I've heard people say before, well, it takes so long. But at the end of the day, the consequences of not having it can be far reaching than the time that you have to spend in waiting for a trademark. But for somebody who's waiting for a trademark, how long would that take?
Well, first of all, very important to understand that you cannot get registration unless you are using the mark in commerce. So you're either selling something or performing services. You can apply for a mark if you're not using it, but it won't get registered until you actually start using it. If you're using the mark in commerce, it takes about a year from application to registration. There are various phases of the process. But just by making the application, you are preserving the name. So no one can come in behind you and apply, even if they're using the mark and you're not. So the time of application is important as well.
Let me move over to copyright. What exactly is a copyright?
Copyright is an original work of authorship. So a poem, a story, an article on a website, a painting, a drawing, a photograph, all of these things that a business owner may put on their website. So if you're taking a photo from somebody else's website and putting it on your website, that would likely be infringement of the photographer's copyright or the other business owner's copyright. So you always want to make sure that you have the rights to the copyright to use either an article on your website or a photograph. I don't think we have time, but there are certain things that are in the public domain that you cannot infringe if you use a photograph, let's say, of something that's been in the public domain, or if you sing Happy Birthday, that song is in the public domain. So no one needs to obtain the rights to use that song or to perform that song. But so that's a copyright, an original work of authorship.
What are some of the common mistakes that people make? I mean, we can't get to everything, but I do want to get to what are some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to copywriting?
I think that when they're building a website, they think that anything on the internet is free. They can take anything that they like and that they want to use. Oh, here's a picture of, you know, I don't know, Beyonce. I think I'd like to put her on my website, put that photograph out on my website. No, you cannot do that. You cannot take things that are in the internet, just, you know, on the internet just because they're there. People own rights in that material. So it's very important before you do anything like that to check who owns the rights and get permission. It depends on the type of use that you're doing, but you must respect other people's intellectual property rights. Copyrights and trademarks are called intellectual property. And just as if you don't want anybody to infringe upon the use of your name or infringe upon the use of an article that you wrote, others don't want that as well. So everybody needs to respect each other's intellectual property.
Well, Kathryn, thank you so much. A lot of information to unpack, and hopefully our viewers will be able to tap in to find out a little bit more about trademark as well as copyright. Now, listen, if you want more information, don't forget to go to their website, SuffolkLaw.com. Again, at SuffolkLaw.com, you can find out more about trademark, copyrights, and then some. We encourage you, please don't go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this. And welcome back to the show. The Paralegal and Legal Studies program at Bronx Community College focuses on developing students' knowledge about the origins, the content, and consequences of law policies. Their program is accredited by the American Bar Association and assists students to think critically, identify as well as solve practical, intellectual, and ethical problems, and then communicate their views effectively, orally, as well as in writing. Here now to share a little bit more is the licensed attorney and director of Paralegal and Legal Studies program at Bronx Community College, Nikole Knight, and also a candidate of Paralegal and Legal Studies certificate program at BCC, Maliyah Graham. And welcome both to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And then I will start off first with you, and we'll speak first to Dr. Knight. Tell us a little bit about the program. Obviously, an opportunity for students to really enhance their field, enhance their career working in the field of legal.
Yes, our paralegal studies program, as you said, is accredited by the American Bar Association. We have an AAS degree and we have a certificate program. The AAS degree is a little bit longer course to graduate. The certificate is 30 credits. Depending on where you want to go with it will depend on whether you choose to go the route of the AAS degree versus the certificate. What we try to do is to train our paralegals to enter the field of law as paralegals. Of course, they're not attorneys, they're not licensed, so they cannot practice law. They will be assisting attorneys in the jobs that they do in terms of going to court, filing documents, assisting with regard to clients. Of course, they don't take the lead because they're not licensed attorneys again, but they will be interfacing with the clients as it relates with the attorney and the job that they have to do for the clients.
Yeah. And Maliyah is in the certificate program, and welcome, Maliyah. I wanted to ask, what was it that made you decide that you wanted to do this for a career?
This has always just been like a dream of mine since I was younger, to be in a law field, whether it's being a cop, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's paralegal. So anything with law, I've just been interested in.
Yeah. And what have you learned so far through the program?
So far, I've learned like how to, navigate during the court system. Like I've been like a court navigator before. I've done paralegal interning. So it's just like a lot like hands-on. So I'm getting a lot of hands-on training with it.
Yeah. Dr. Knight, for people who are, just learning about this program, it is an entryway into the court system. It is an entryway into a career in the legal world. Talk to us about BCC and that opportunity for students to be able to choose this path.
Well, with regard to Bronx Community College is a great institution. Let me start off with, and it's not just because I work there. The campus is very diverse. We have supportive faculty and administration that helps students to try to navigate with whatever field that they're going in. With regard to the paralegal program, what we try to do is really give students that academic and substantive, as well as that professional grooming that they need in order to be able to enter the legal field. And I think that the greatest part of our program is, one, the fact that we're accredited by the American Bar Association, which kind of heightens our stability in terms of what we're offering the students substantively. And I think that the fact that we offer an internship, which allows them to actually get the field of actually being a paralegal before they actually enter the field, I think that's really, really important. So the combination of the staff, what we're offering them substantively, as well as the hands-on in terms of the internship quality. We get anywhere from work doing clerks with judges. We have students that have worked at the ADA, legal aid, corporate firms. We've done that as well, and we still, of course, do that. And I think that makes for the program to be really well-rounded and prepare our students for what they need in terms of going forward in the legal field.
Yeah. And Maliyah, for you, obviously having that hands-on experience, right? Working and getting that on-the-job training, share with me what that experience is like for you, being able to do that.
It's been a wonderful experience, and it still is. And I just love how, being that it's hands-on, I'm getting like firsthand treatment of how, things go in the court system. So it's given me the opportunity, if this is like something that I truly want to pursue in life, or is this just something that I'm doing for right now? And the experience has just been great.
So here comes the big question. Is it something that you want to do for right now, or is it something that you want to continue to do?
This is something that I would definitely continue to do. I love everything about it.
I see.
I appreciate I appreciate Dr. Knight for everything.
And Dr. Knight, I mean, when you talk about this, students like Maliyah, they come in, they take advantage of the program, and now they see that this is a career that they want to do. And I think for you, that's got to be a good feeling to help somebody to actually parlay into that.
It's an amazing feeling. I mean, I love when my students come back to me and they say, being at BCC was great, but I love what I'm doing right now because I'm actually in the work world. I love watching them grow as they enter BCC from where they start, and then when they graduate, see how far they've gotten. I mean, I look at Maliyah right now, and I remember when she first came to me in terms of, she was in the criminal justice, and she graduated from that and then turned around and decided to do the certificate in the paralegal studies. And I mean, she's always been on top of her game. She's always been sure that she, of what she wanted to do. And I mean, seeing her now develop and grow and engage and do that hands-on, I mean, I see that she's going to go really far, and she's going to just be one of the top in whatever she decides to do in the legal field, of course.
Right, we heard that. We heard that she's going to do the legal field. So Maliyah, congratulations. How much longer before graduation?
I'll be graduating in December of this year from the certificate program.
That's awesome. Well, I want you to keep up the great work, and I want to thank you for being with us here on the show, Maliyah, and also to Dr. Knight. Thank you for the great work that you're doing, training students and helping them find that career path. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All righty. Well, we want to let you know now, if you want more information, we encourage you to do us a favor. Please visit their website. The website is bcc.cuny.edu. Again, bcc.cuny.edu. Special thanks to Maliyah and also to Dr. Knight. Well, we've got more show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue. Open will return right after this.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
And welcome back to the show. Community Access is a New York City-based mental health not-for-profit organization that's presenting its second annual Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Festival virtually. Changing Minds celebrates the work of teen and young adult filmmakers who, through their short films about mental health, challenge the stigma surrounding mental health concerns. And the festival, which aims to facilitate dialogue and center the lived experiences of young people, will be presented this year at a time of enhanced need. And here now to share more is the coordinator of Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Festival, Nola Hamowy. And Nola, good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about this festival.
Yeah, and we're excited to talk about the festival too. Talk a little bit about it. It's the second annual festival, and what can those who are participating in experience?
Totally. So this is our second annual festival, although the festival was a competition beforehand. So we've been working for the past 5 years as a competition where filmmakers can share their films and we can kind of share their stories. This year we're virtually because of the pandemic, but we'll be showing 8 of our 2020/2019 films, split into 2 sections, 2 viewing sections with a live Q&A with the filmmakers. So we're able to actually connect with these filmmakers and ask them questions about their work.
Yeah. And we also know that mental health has a real component attached to this too. Talk to us about that.
Totally. So these films are all highlighting the work of young filmmakers and their specific work and stories around mental health, especially how it pertains to youth, as that's so important right now, especially, and it's so pertinent to youth right now. So we're hoping that through sharing these stories, people are going to talk about mental health, that we can kind of combat some of the stigma that we know surrounds mental health, especially as it affects young people.
Yeah, and also an enhanced focus, right? Because you're talking about really dealing with mental health during this time of the pandemic, and there are some things that maybe we're not so familiar with when it comes to mental health during the pandemic.
Yeah, totally. So we are There's something about like being a young person myself. I'm 18 and I'm working in this initiative. I really can understand what it's like being a young person in this pandemic, and it is not fun. And a lot of us, our life is put on hold this year, and a lot of us aren't able to go to college. And it's really important to be sharing these stories that often aren't highlighted because people are young, because these young filmmakers haven't had a chance to get into the real world and share their stories. So hopefully this will be a festival and an event that can really open people's eyes to what it's like being a young person and how mental health affects us.
And when we talk about this here, there are certain stigmas that really come with mental health, and we know that. We don't like talking about it. We really don't like sometimes bring it to the forefront. But as this festival comes about, I know that's what you want to be able to do, to talk about some of the stigmas and also make people aware of some of those stigmas. So without giving the whole festival away, share with us some of the stigmas that you feel come when it comes to young people and mental health.
Totally. So again, like you said, I don't want to give away too many of the films and what they're about, but our films cover a wide range of topics. This year, our filmmakers are also all women, which is very, very cool. But these films cover topics from eating disorders to how the media impacts mental health and diet culture, to the fears with growing up and transitioning from high school to college, to social anxiety. We cover such a wide range of films and topics, and these films are really, really personal stories from some really incredible filmmakers that are able to talk about their experience with mental health.
Yeah. And in addition to the film festival, you also have this question and answer session, and you've got a very special guest.
We do. So Shadil is from the Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation. She is incredible. She facilitated our Q&A for our 2019 festival in the East Village Cinema in October. And she is great. She really knows how to hone in, ask questions that matter, and get these filmmakers talking about what they're passionate about, what they care about their films. And we really hope that these Q&As and we're also opening the Q&A to the audience so they can ask their questions about the films, about the filmmakers' experiences, and the goal to accomplish our goal, which is to spark really important conversations about mental health and stigma and policy and everything in between.
And if our viewers are just joining us, share with them a little bit more about how they can be connected to the festival and what's it like for you to also have this festival going on virtually.
Totally. So this year, unfortunately, we have to be virtual, but I think it's actually a really great experience. I think it means that we can connect more people can join us. If anyone wants to learn more and reserve tickets, if you just go to communityaccess.org/changingminds, you'll be able to reserve tickets and learn a little more about the festival. It's on April 9th, so next Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, with 2 sessions of films and a live Q&A where the audience and Shadil, our moderator, can ask questions to the filmmakers.
Yeah, and it's got to be a good feeling for you having this another year around. What's it like seeing this festival come around, knowing particularly in a time like this that you're really going to be able to provide some real critical information?
Yeah, it definitely is a really rewarding experience being in the role that I'm in as an 18-year-old. It's also really rewarding. We preach that we are for youth by youth, and that really is true. There's a different way to connect when somebody who's working in the festival knows what the filmmakers and the people that we are creating this content for are going through. And that's exactly why I joined Community Access and Changing Minds, and why they were happy to welcome me. It was a really great fit to make sure that we are accomplishing our goal in the best way, is by having that connect.
Well, Nola, great having you here on Open. Certainly we want you to have a great festival. Thank you for coming and sharing with us and the work that you guys are doing really around promoting mental health. It's very critical right now. Thank you.
It is. Thank you so much, Daren. It was so nice talking to you.
Nice talking with you. All right, now listen, if you do want more information, this is what you do. You go to visit their website, communityaccess.org, Changing Minds. And we encourage you, please don't go anywhere. We've got more Open coming up right after this. back to the show. Well, traditionally, America has viewed higher education as a means to achieve upward mobility and add value to the community. At the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, this avenue for prosperity was foundationally shaken, and many of the pervasive equity issues present in American higher education have become even more prevalent. Now, the only way for higher education to prevail through these challenging times and become a positive social mobility model is to adopt progressive strategic models. And here now to share a little bit more is the Thinkubator's president and CEO, Dr. Edward Summers, director of higher education consultancy, Dr. Duleep Deosthale, and then also we've got higher education intern, Perrin Kennedy. And we welcome you all to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Dr. Summers, take it away. I mean, as we talk about education and as we look at what's going on right now, really equity and education through this pandemic, we've had this conversation before, you know, things have become somewhat further exacerbated.
Yes. So thank you for having us once again. It's great to be here. So the Thinkubator is very much focused on about different career and educational pathways. And of course, education is critical. Higher education for young people in the Bronx, young people of color, low-income students have always been challenging. Duleep.
All right, so one of the things that we are focusing on is what happens to these students who are coming out and how are universities responding? And the main thrust is about change and how do we talk about change? How does this change come in? And that has been one of the focal points of the higher education consultancy as we reach out and work with universities to find and identify approaches and means, things which are post-COVID, things which they have never done in the past, approaches which would be different, which would engage all these populations. These are new demographics. As we all know, the numbers which are going down when it comes to the existing enrollment. And that has been one of the big issues for institutions is where are these students of tomorrow going to come from? It is not the pools that they have known and traditionally drawn from. It is the groups and students who have been in a certain sense left outside of their enrollment pool. And that is what we're trying to do is understand these students, understand what tomorrow is going to be, where these demographics are and what are their needs? What is it that we have to start doing differently? And those are the things that universities need to start responding to. Change, how is that change going to happen? What are the elements that they're going to shift, you know, and who are the people who are going to lead? Because it is all about leadership also. This is not about just making some changes within an office here or a department over there. This is about the kind of leadership that we are supposed to envision that is going to take the country forward. And with it, the new students, we keep talking about these millions of students, high school students who are getting ready to graduate or who have just graduated or who are in the pipeline. Where are these students going to go to? How are programs going to respond to their needs? Especially in this changing environment where the kind of jobs, the kind of skills, all these things are going to be different.
Right.
What are
let me bring Perrin in and talk a little bit about the work that you do, Perrin. And when we talk about education and we look at some of the disparities and how COVID-19 has actually shaped, there may be some things that we're not paying attention to. And so from your perspective as an intern, talk to us about it.
Yeah, I not only have the unique perspective of being an intern, but I am also currently a student. And in undergrad, I was an HBCU student, and now I am a graduate student at Columbia University. So I've really kind of seen firsthand how education has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. I would say in terms of things that the Thinkubator, what we're focusing on is really how do colleges and universities create new academic programs to meet a new changing world. So for example, Morris Brown College, which is an HBCU in Atlanta, they recently just announced a hospitality management and hotel management training center on their campus in partnership with an investment firm. And this will be the first program of its kind on an HBCU campus. And Morris Brown, they've kind of had a history where they struggled a little bit, but introducing new programs like these, they help to create a new idea in students' minds of like, here's a career path that I really never thought of, but there's an opportunity to invest in it and go into it and create a whole new generation of hotel management professionals. And that's just an example, just really a taste of what we're working on in terms of we're looking at unique models that will really progressively advance colleges and universities by really putting the lens on, okay, here's something you may not have focused on, but you really want to focus on it because we're trying to unlock a segment of the population for you that you didn't really focus on before. So really exciting work.
Dr. Summers, I'll bring you back in to talk a little bit about financial aid, because any parent as well as student have concerns about financial aid. I know that you have some recommendations as well.
Sure, yes. So thank you for that. You know, colleges and universities have struggled in this area of financial aid. You know, their job is to, you know, obviously provide education, but also to think about their financial model. So for the Thinkubator and this white paper that we're producing, we're recommending rethinking financial aid models in terms of thinking about how you package young people. How do you think about loans? How do you think about grant and aid? You know, many people don't know this, but you know, many colleges, the way in which they package and provide financial aid is that you have to be a first-time student to get and to qualify for the majority of the scholarships that they often have. So you can't necessarily be a transfer student, or you can't necessarily be a student that has been disconnected and now is getting back re-engaged with colleges and universities. So, you know, the Thinkubator is thinking, listen, COVID has happened. You know, many people may need a break, you know, in between, they may need a gap year in between college, high school and college. And so colleges need to think about that and consider that. Also, many young people may think, I want to stay home, you know, this year and go to a local college and then transfer. So colleges and universities need to think about how they package students. It can't just be about that first year freshman. And in terms of all the aid that they give, oftentimes colleges do this because of what they have to report to the states, what they have to report to reporting agencies like U.S. News and World Report. So they put all their eggs in one basket in terms of investing in that first year freshman versus thinking about, let's spread the wealth in terms of how we think about our financial aid dollars. How about we did 50% of our financial aid budget could go to first year freshmen, but let's do it to those students who took a gap year. Let's do it to students who have transferred or are going to transfer to our institutions from a community college, because you know, this past year with COVID was pretty hard and they want to stay home, stay local, get their grades up and then transfer to us. So college and universities need to reimagine and rethink about this new model that's emerging in terms of how people are thinking about and making decisions about how to go to college in order to make sure that they are packaging and packaging students to be successful, quite frankly, and to be able to afford their respective institutions. So it's those type of models that college and universities need to think about. They can't just rely on first year freshmen and putting all that money there. They need to think about the diversity under which the circumstances today that students are entering colleges and universities.
Yeah, the segment's over, but I got to make sure I get this out. Ask the question: where do people find the white paper, the information that you're referring to?
Sure. So we produced a op-ed for diverse education. That's right now currently on their website. The white paper will be ready to go tomorrow on the Thinkubator, thinkubator.org's website as well.
All righty. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here on Open. Certainly an eye-opener when it comes to really taking a look at what we're doing in the world of education. The pandemic has changed a lot of things, and hopefully we'll all be able to navigate and make a positive shift. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Want to let you know now, if you want more information, please go visit their website at thethinkubator.org. Again, thethinkubator.org. Well, we come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast on Bronx's Channel 67. If you have Verizon Files, that'd be Channel 2133, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. If you want a brand new episode, don't forget to find my girl, Rena Valentine, on Friday morning, same time, keeping this channel wide open as she talks about arts, entertainment, and culture. I'm Daren Jaime saying take care, God bless, and most of all, keep this channel wide open.